Welcome to the Firehorse podcast, where we talk to B2B founders and leaders about their real life experiences and wisdom on building, selling, and scaling businesses, and gain insight into what actually works across sales, marketing, go to market strategy, and AI. Today, I'm joined by Tony Mamedbekov, CTO and founder of InfoDump. Tony has over 20 years of experience in enterprise technology, having built and architectured large-scale systems for global Fortune 500 companies across the US, UK, and beyond. His career spans website development all the way through to enterprise architecture, and when he kept hitting the same wall every time he tried to use AI with sensitive data, he decided to build the solution himself. InfoDump is a privacy-first AI platform that lets individuals and enterprises use AI on their own data without it ever leaving their control. It works offline, it works with any LLM, and it's already being used by teams who need the power of AI without the privacy risk. Tony, welcome to the Firehorse podcast.
Hi, Emily. Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. So, before we get into it, you've got a really interesting background that spans from writing Visual Basic calculators as a kid to enterprise architecture to now building your own product. Can you give us a quick overview of how your career has evolved and what's connected it all?
Yeah, definitely. It all started, as you mentioned, as a child, looking over what my mom does, and I started kind of building my own both calculators and Visual Basic. Then I wanted to have, during the web being so popular, I wanted to have my picture and my name on the web. So I started building websites and publishing them on the internet. And it kind of evolutionized as I went to college, got my degree in computer science, started building some applications and consulting, and it just all evolved. And I was always solving problems for customers that wanted to adopt new technology. And this is kind of, now we're again in the same era of AI, new tech. Everybody wants to adopt it, doesn't really know how to do it, but everybody wants it. So I think the experience that I gained throughout my evolution as a software engineer kicks in very well right now with this product that I have developed to help companies adopt AI the proper way.
And you've described the core problem as one that most people haven't really thought about yet. Every time someone uses ChatGPT or Claude or Grok with their own data, that data is potentially gone. Can you explain that to our audience? What's actually happening and why should they care?
I always get asked the question about privacy, right? So we always care about our sensitive information. We store it on hard drives, on our secure storage online, in the cloud, on USB sticks. But for some reason, when these AI companies started coming up with little chat windows, we are without any issues uploading information there, and we are entering our private information there as well. So what happens in that moment in time, that information gets uploaded to their own servers, it gets processed, it gets indexed to create context. So you are always asking these chat agents, hey, what did I do last week? Can you tell me how is this relevant to my other conversation? And how does it know? Because it has all of context about you and about your session on their servers. What ends up happening as you're adopting or you're starting to use their systems, they tell you to sign terms and condition privacy policy that they will utilize some information to train their models, because their commodity is their large language models, their AI. That's what they're selling back to you. But in order to continuously improve it, they need to retrain the data. It's the basics of machine learning. There's not a rocket science. So think of it this way. When you go to Google and you search for something, you can see a website that's published and available that somebody created, an article, a PDF that potentially you uploaded onto your server. Same thing happens here, but you cannot remove it anymore. The moment it's in the chat, the moment you hit enter, it's being processed, you have no control over it. So that's kind of the situation that we're in right now, and that's what we're going to talk about today, a little more.
So you told me before that info dump actually started as a personal problem because you had too many meetings, too many Slack messages, too many notes, and you couldn't organize it all using AI because it had such sensitive data in it. So can you walk us through that origin story and how you came up with the idea?
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people who are in a management or technical leader roles can relate. We wake up in the morning, coffee, first meeting 7 o'clock in the morning. If you are working international, sometimes it's even earlier. You have to be present. You have to be connected with the person you're talking to remotely via Zoom or some kind of a call. You have to take notes because then you have to follow up on that conversation. Sometimes you're doing multiple things. You're talking to operations, you're talking to your engineers, you're hiring for new roles, you're talking to talent acquisition department. There's a lot of things that are happening. And taking notes, then you have to go back to it and understand what did you even type up. There's a lot of AI note takers, there's a lot of AI voice recorders, and all of that gets processed in the cloud. And sometimes you're discussing RFP information, sometimes you're discussing people's salaries, sometimes you're discussing people's personal issues that they're having if they have family problems, and then you have as a one-on-one on a meeting with your subordinates, right? At that moment in time, I realized that I have a lot of notes and I cannot physically follow up on all of that. My brain just was over capacity. So I said, why don't I create some way of analyzing all these notes without dumping them into a chat of one of the big corporations that's out there? Because I can't, if I'm talking to you and we work together and you telling me that you have some issues and you want some raise the salary, all of that information is gone, right? Like shadow AI is a big deal nowadays. But I said, why don't I come up with a way of organizing? So that's kind of how it started. Info dump all the information into a chat that's private, analyze it, and give me to-do list at the end of the day. That's pretty much how it started.
That's amazing. So, for our audience, InfoDump is a desktop application that can work completely offline in airplane mode and disconnected from the internet entirely. So, can you walk us through how does it actually work and what the privacy layer looks like under the hood?
So think of it as AI in a box in your computer. So application, you start an application, it asks you to select a folder where you're going to operate. It has no access to the internet. It has already pre-built models that are running not on GPU, but on your CPU, so on your laptop. The more powerful your laptop is, the faster you'll get a response. The slower it is, it's fine. You'll just wait maybe extra few seconds to get a response. You upload files, you can chat, you can add your notes, it all gets created. There's no database in the cloud, it's all on your desktop. You easily can interact with it. You can ask AI chatbot that you have there as part of the application to analyze the data, create a report, create a visual diagram. It's all built in. So I took my experience that I've worked for so many years and I try to make it super lean to what people really need. Large language models, for example, they have a lot of capabilities. When we go to these chat AI chat companies that are providing services, we're asking sometimes, hey, can you analyze this Excel file? But that large language model also can build a website for you, generate an image, process some data, do a cross-reference, do a lot of things. And some people don't need that. CFOs don't need to build a website. All they need to do is process an Excel spreadsheet and tell them who did pretty good sales last month. That's about it. So why load a whole large language model on the desktop and have it run? I'm going off tangent a little bit here, but we built also SLM Studio as part of InfoDump. It allows non-technical people to build language models themselves without being a data engineer, and then it embeds it into your desktop application. So that's pretty much how it works. The privacy, It's on your computer. If nobody has access to your computer, obviously nothing is gone. Think of it as a Word document that just sits on your desktop. You open it, you work in it, save it, close it. That's it. No one has access to it. And there's no access to the internet from a desktop. You can disable, actually, as you mentioned, airplane mode. You can kill the full connectivity of the app. Obviously, there's ways for you to interact with other models that are out there through API. But then we're talking about guardrails. We have our info dump firewall that blocks all the personal information, company information. So if you don't want any of that information to be released and processed and it's private, info dump firewall gateway that we call it, guardrails, will be completely catching that and it will shut it off, that interaction.
Sounds incredible. You are already working with some established enterprise clients with serious compliance requirements. How are you winning those customers? Where are you finding them? And what's the conversation typically looking like?
That's a good question. One thing that I remember from my early career, one of my mentors, CEO of one of the companies I used to work for, he said to me when we were introducing new tech, he said, don't go after people that don't understand what we're selling. So same concept applies here. I don't try to overeducate people that don't understand and don't want it. I don't try to just give it to them, be in their face. Most of the time, people come to me that are really caring about this stuff, that really care about privacy, really care about keeping their private data within their organization and leveraging artificial intelligence to do what they need to do on a day-to-day basis. The way I do it, network. I mean, I gained a lot of traction throughout my 20-year career with a lot of people that I work with. They know what I'm capable of, what I can deliver. Plus, local network. I attend user groups. I speak at some events. There's going to be some university events that I'll be also speaking at this summer where people don't want their research paper gone and they want to kind of keep it in. So I'll be speaking in Texas this summer. So it's just word of mouth. People who know me. Obviously, our website is very educational. I post a lot of resources, a lot of articles where I educate people about it. I have a little TikTok channel that I started where I'm just teaching people about AI, what it is, just kind of basics, right? And that's kind of how I'm getting traction.
I need to follow your TikTok. You told me something quite interesting before, actually, that the demand for privacy AI will really explode when the lawsuits start. So, OpenAI, Anthropic, others are already seeing legal action. Do you think we're at an inflection point, and what does that mean for where the market goes next?
I believe it's everything. AI is new. It came as a storm. Everybody jumped in, started using it. We're seeing like lawyers utilizing it because they're not properly were given proper training and education how to use it. There's lawsuits happening about, I mean, it's not all over the news, but if you Google it and you research about it, there's so many lawsuits where the models are being trained on public data. I think one of the big ones was a news outlet that sued one of the companies that they trained on their public articles that they posted on their website, their whole model. And that lawsuit was billions. And I think it's going to only continue evolving. We just haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen medical, we haven't seen HIPAA compliant lawsuits yet. We haven't seen, I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening. Lawyers, I think there was last week or 2 weeks ago, there was a lawsuit that was fully generated by AI. And can you imagine people's data was uploaded and then it processed and generated with AI? So I think it's just we're touching tip of the iceberg. At some point, everybody's going to talk about governance and privacy of AI. I think there's people already discussing it. It's just going to evolutionize and we're going to start controlling it, just like we used to have basic passwords. Then we had two-step verification. Then we had a little QR code scanning. I mean, it's a new reality, right? So
A lot to think about. It's a little bit scary.
yes.
Slight pivot for you. If a CEO or executive came to you tomorrow and said, I know I need to embrace AI, but I don't know where to start, what would you tell them?
Number one thing that I tell everyone is focus on your security. That's number one. Make sure all your data is, you know where it is, you know who can access it, you know how it's controlled. Second thing is make sure you have proper processes in place. And then your AI adoption will be in controlled environment. And this is kind of where InfoDump kicks in, is we bring in the full on-prem infrastructure, like from ground up. Like we recently released, from our first conversation with you, we recently released hardware. So now you have a server with operating system baked into it, so you can run it locally without even worrying about your data leaving. And then you can actually see what your people are doing. And then when you're ready and you know that everything is safe and secure, all your doors are locked, nobody can walk into the back door just by putting a low brick there and walking to the back of the office, then you can go ahead and start exposing yourself into these large organizations where there's models that are specific to certain needs. I think, like, as we're going to evolutionize, every company will focus on their models. There's not going to be any chats. It's going to be apps. So think of AI and LLMs as applications. Every company will have their commodity will be their model. So you'll be able to buy it, download it, because tokens too expensive. We see data centers are not able to build so fast. Every week something is changing. Google is coming up with research that models can be made now smaller. Other organizations are raising their prices on their per use tokens. Pro editions are now more expensive. I mean, we see, and that's all being dictated by energy. So focus on as a CEO, focus on security. Make sure you have all your data properly stored. You have your whole team and your company in check. They know what they're doing. And the moment AI comes in, your people will be elevated. They're going to become superheroes, right, in your organization. So those two things that I always recommend everyone. Get your org in order, make sure everything is in controlled environment and privacy and security is in place.
Excellent advice. Where do you see InfoDump going over the next few years? And is there a world where this would become available for individuals as well?
To be honest, with the way everything evolutionizes and evolves, it's so fast. So things change every day. The way InfoDump is gonna evolutionize, I think we're gonna pivot into like AI in a box. I think there's gonna be a lot of companies like mine that's gonna start popping up everywhere. And at some point, everybody's gonna focus on certain areas of a vertical. We released recently, speaking of, because last time we talked, you said consumers, and I thought how and what can we do? So we have a little device, AI in a box, that will become available in the fall. So it's a very lightweight, lean, almost like a brick, power brick, that you can connect to your phone or your laptop wirelessly and just interact with that AI model or that AI box with your storage. We're thinking kind of what else is going to be there inside of it, but this is our goal for consumer. Overall, InfoDump is just going to evolutionize whatever market needs, whatever our customers need. We're going to continuously evolving with SLM Studio. I think we're going to move into an area where there's not going to be large language models that are open source. I think InfoDump is going to be a place where people will be able to build their own models without having advanced knowledge of data engineering. People can go visit our website and see how it works. We're going to be open sourcing it very soon, just kind of stabilizing all the bugs, because InfoDump SLM Studio is going to be open source. Anybody should be able to build their own models. We should not have master of data science to build a large language model or small language model for basic needs. So I think I'm moving in that direction. I want to help people adopt AI easy. I want people to be able to access everything easily without getting certain certifications or passing some exams. It should be available. It's such a great thing that we came to. I think there hasn't been much innovation since iPhone was created. Everything is we're just keep optimizing businesses that already exist. And AI is the first one that kind of we can build a website in like 5 minutes nowadays, right? So it's cool stuff.
Very cool stuff. Obviously, it's very impressive. You built this entirely yourself. So the product, the sales, the marketing, the roadmap. You've architectured enterprise systems for some of the world's biggest companies. And now you're applying all of that to your own product. What's it actually like being a one-man show after working in such large organizations before?
Not a lot changed because I'm still interacting with customers. Customers are demanding, customers still want everything now. They need some education, they still need some consulting, explanation. The beauty about working by myself is that I can go in any direction that I want. I don't need to get an approval. I can just easily operate. It doesn't mean that it's easy. Of course, you think through it, you have proper strategy. What are you going to do and why? But then again, like in any business, your customer, like you want your customer to be happy, right? And that's how you kind of pivot your business. So the beauty here, I think, is because of the product, I can just create something very fast what my customers need. For example, the InfoDump SLM studio that I created, it was something that came to mind during a conversation when we were talking to one CFO. He said, I need to process ERP data. That's all I need. And I want to graph for something. So I said, okay, why are we using LLM when we can just build an SLM that can be trained on the data for that small organization? And then a CFO can own his own model, like a language model that just processes his data. And that's kind of a perfect example where I went from my platform into like a model creation that comes back to the platform. Private, local, trained locally, don't need crazy data servers, none of that stuff. You just operate locally, and it's scalable to anyone. Then you can go build like a SLM for HR, SLM for CEO, CTO, and so on and so on, and individual developers. I mean, if we're going to go into like a weeds for a second, there's so many programming languages, right? And large language models are sometimes hallucinating. Why? Because they know too much. So this is exactly where my experience kicking in product development. So we had monolithic applications. We went to microservices. Then we went to decoupled headless architecture. That kind of was evolution of software development. Here's the same thing. Large language model, gigantic, has a lot of stuff. Let's break it up into small language models, and then they will be specifically designed for certain needs and can work with each other through a dispatcher. I mean, not a rocket science, but it's just how you look at it.
So, if anyone wants to find out more about InfoDump, which I'm sure they will, and it'd be silly not to, where should they go?
Our website is infodump.co. You can Google me, my name, Tony Mamedbekov, and you'll find everything about InfoDump. If you Google InfoDump, AI, governance, you'll find a lot of information. On your YouTube channel, they can find out a little information about InfoDump. But we're on LinkedIn, we're on Instagram.
And the TikTok?
And TikTok, yes. But TikTok is a little education, strictly, not InfoDump. It's me sharing free knowledge with folks about AI.
Okay. Well, I'll drop all of those contact details below the video as well, so everyone can get to those with ease. Tony, this has been a genuinely fascinating conversation, very exciting moves that you're making. And I think what makes it so timely is that most people are just starting to realize the problem that you've been building the solution for. So the idea that every time we hand our data to an AI, we're giving it away, and that there's a better way, is something every founder, every executive, every organization, and I think every individual should be thinking about moving forward. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing your story. I think it's going to be a really important episode for our audience. And to our audience, thanks for listening, and we hope to see you again next time.
Thank you, Emily. I really appreciate you having me. Thank you again.